Why am I interested in medicine?
Why am I interested in medicine?
So why am I interested in medicine?
Why am I interested in medicine?
Why am I interested in medicine?
Hey everyone, welcome back to Made It to Medicine with Vix. That's me, where I come with you weekly with videos being transparent, authentic, and relatable. And today, as promised, this is the interview part 2, where I discuss with you the why medicine answer. For me personally, this was the most difficult answer to construct. You have to be strategic in going into your why, like what drove you to this field. Solicited the help, the assistance of 4 of my classmates for them to talk to you about their why medicine answer, so that you can see that we all come from very different backgrounds. We all have various inspirations, but that still led us to this one place, medical school. Why am I interested in medicine? For me, it started at a very early age. I grew up without healthcare insurance, but my mother was privileged to know a nurse at a community health clinic who was able to reduce our fees to a low co-payment of $10 per child. And my pediatrician, she treated me as a person and not a statistic. She didn't look to my mother, she looked to me. She asked me how I was doing, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and socially as well. That made me feel seen. She cared about building a rapport with me. As I went on to go to college, I had various shadowing experiences, from ophthalmology to family medicine, general internal medicine to pulmonary. Although these fields were vastly different, they shared the commonality of building a rapport with patients in order for them to get to the best patient outcome. And that was something that I knew I wanted to do. But it didn't stop there. There are older adults in my family who are plagued with several diseases like hypertension, high cholesterol, and diabetes. And one family member in particular was in denial of their diabetic diagnosis for over 15 years due to a lack of transparency and connection with their physician. It wasn't until one physician took the time to listen to their concerns, all of their questions, and answered them in a patient and a calm manner for them to understand and truly come to terms with their diagnoses. In that moment, I knew that I wanted to be a doctor like that. Someone who was caring, compassionate, easygoing, and willing to listen. This is why I'm doing this. So I can go back to Black and Brown communities to connect with them, build a partnership to decrease healthcare disparities and increase equal access to equitable care. And it is through my relatable personality that I'm able to enhance the patient experience by being transparent, which will allow them to be compliant as we work towards building a lasting and trusting relationship. This is my why.
Medicine. For me, it wasn't one like aha moment. It really was kind of a series of moments on a journey to know that like medicine was the right path for me. What I found that I really liked was, using science and applying it to bigger concepts and to cases. I really liked in biology classes when we would apply it to like disease cases and patient cases, and that was when I really found that I like to like bring all that together and use it in practice. Also in classes, I found that I was really interested in, how people thought about disease and illness, how people thought about health, how people navigate healthcare systems, and all the different factors that, led to health outcomes and health disparities. And I knew that, through shadowing, through my volunteering experiences in the hospital, I found that I was more interested in how all those different things played out in actuality and practice rather than in the academic realm. I also knew that I really wanted to work in a collaborative environment. That was, my favorite part about classes, about lab work, even about, music and the other things I was doing outside of academics. And also as I shadowed and got clinical experience, it became apparent to me how truly collaborative that medicine is. And I really wanted to work in an environment like that. Kind of all those different things, my interest in science and applying that science to specific cases, my interest in health disparities, my interest in research, and wanting to work in a collaborative environment, for me really all came together and pointed me towards medicine.
And I think for me, it really stemmed from my experiences growing up. I come from an immigrant family, the undocumented community, and I think for me, it was very obvious that the undocumented community faces so many barriers to access to healthcare. I grew up, going with my parents to translate for them. because nobody else spoke Spanish. Nobody really understood their culture. And furthermore, nobody really understood how to take care of the undocumented community. So that's really what inspired me to go into medicine. I really wanted to be more of an advocate for these communities that aren't represented at all in medicine. I think later on, as my journey went on, one thing that I really enjoyed was mentoring students. So as a first generation undocumented student, I had a lot of barriers going through college. I feel like I'm really lucky that I even got the opportunity to go to college. And really that was only possible because other people guided me along the way. And there were people who were very invested in others. And I think that's something I strongly took away from those experiences. And I realized that I loved taking all the things that I learned about my progress through college and in my pre-med years to advise other students and help other people. And I think that's kind of an overall theme that runs in many of my activities and the reasons for why I'm involved in very many things is that commitment to others, that commitment to being invested in other people. And so it's the same thing with medicine and why I love medicine, because I really love engaging with patients, getting to know their story, seeing what I can do to learn to better support them, to better empower them, to take better care of their health and navigate such a complicated system that's the healthcare system, especially for vulnerable communities like the undocumented community or, African American communities that face very similar challenges.
So service has always been really important in my house. My mom was in the military, and so I knew that I wanted to serve my communities. I just didn't necessarily think I wanted to join the military itself. In childhood, I was looking at different careers, and I saw doctor, and I thought, wow, that seems like the best field to help people. I just didn't know much about it. Neither one of my parents went to college. I don't know how many doctors in my family. And I just thought it looked cool. And then as I got older and started realizing how much I enjoyed healthcare, it really solidified my interest in becoming a physician. Both my parents were from the south side of Chicago, so going home to Chicago and just realizing the lack of access, I saw that Black physicians were needed to be able to relate to the communities around me. Even my dad, who's always had health insurance, never went to the doctor. He still doesn't go to the doctor. It's trying to convince someone when they don't trust the people that are taking care of them. When I started volunteering as an EMT, that's when I realized how exciting medicine made me. It was I never really felt so alive, I guess. It was just this experience where you really were first in line to help someone, and you had the ability to do so with the knowledge. And it was always constant learning, also hands-on. It was just everything that I imagined for a career. And so honestly, I can't imagine doing anything else besides becoming a physician.
When I was a kid, my grandpa was a paramedic, and around the same time as ER was a big show on TV, and I really got into watching the excitement of those situations. And the downside of it was I really am not a great student, and I didn't like school. So my alternative was, I could go to school for a year and become a paramedic and get to do all those exciting things without having to become a doctor. And that worked out pretty well. And when I got into it, I think that I mostly did it for personal reasons, to the adrenaline rush and everything like that. And as I grew through my career, I really got more interested in the patient side of it and the lives that we were touching by taking care of people. And I realized how important the patient side of it was. That it really wasn't about me. You could be the best provider in the world, but if your bedside manner is terrible, then the patient doesn't think you're any good, and that's what really matters. And at the same time, I got more and more involved in critical care, and I just love the problem-solving side of critical care and very complex issues. I realized I was teaching myself medicine backwards. To really problem-solve and understand how a system works, I feel like you need to know how all the individual parts of a system come together. So I would teach myself a little bit of chemistry, and then I started going to classes, like actually taking chemistry classes and everything. And then I started to realize that once I was interested and saw the reason for all the preclinical stuff and how it applies in the clinical side, I just got really interested and kept going. And that motivated me to apply into medicine and keep learning the different parts of the system to problem solve, and also get a seat at the table. As someone in EMS is kind of underrepresented in healthcare because we don't have physicians that advocate for EMS on a broad scale. More and more of us paramedics are going into medicine to do that and advocate for EMS and be a part of that and have that seat at the table. And I think that was my big draw to it.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really hope that you learned something and that you see that there is no cookie cutter answer to why you want to be a physician, why you're interested in medicine. Speak from the heart and polish that answer up. And I will see you next week. Bye, y'all.